Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Christine Anderson here, Los Angeles chiropractor of 30 years, going strong. And there's a lot of craziness going on right now in the world. And I just thought it would be good to come on and say hey to you and kind of keep our self-care going, keep the good positive things going in our life, the things that we can actually can control. So if you're out there, say hey to me. Let me know you're out there, that you're watching. If you have any questions, write them down in the chat. I will do what I can to answer them. And posture. I mean, this is so important. And nowadays, I look around and most people are not having good posture anymore. So I'm going to talk to you about what is it, why it's important, how you can get it, and all those really great things. And of course, I've got my trusty spine with me tonight. What chiropractor, if you don't have a spine, it kind of goes with the whole gig, right? So we're going to dive right into it. So posture is the way that you position your body or arrange your limbs. That's how we're going to use it in this case. Obviously, it can be used in other ways, but we're going to talk about spinal posture in particular. And go figure, posture is controlled and coordinated by the nervous system. So our brain is up here, sends signals down through our spinal cord. Look how well your spinal cord is protected by the spine. Like, it's really hard to even see it. And then all these nerves that come out go to our muscles and tell them what to do. Then there's a feedback loop. Our body sends signals back to our brain, and then the brain responds by fine-tuning the messages it's sending out. It's a great system when it works well. So that feedback system for posture depends on deeper layers of skeletal muscle. So we have our superficial ones, like our biceps and the things that we can control. But these are deep muscles within our body. They're connected to our spine. They're connected to our fascia, which is a connective tissue. And this is part of our sensing system. So our brain needs to know where our body is. So it relies on these deep muscles to let it know where we are in space and what our body is doing. And then it relays that information to the brain. And these are called static muscle fibers. In other words, static means you're staying still. They're not doing big movements like I am right now with my hand. They're really keeping things tight, contracted, trying to keep a balance in your posture. And they are the type of muscles that it doesn't take much effort to use them. So they're going to burn energy slowly. They're not supposed to fatigue. It's supposed to make good posture effortless. Now, the problem is phasic fibers or fast twitch muscle fibers, whatever you want to call them, if you're using them to maintain your posture, well, they quickly run out of steam. The brain is going to assume that the body needs to be propped up in some way to counteract the effects of gravity. And so it gets that message from the phasic muscle fibers and triggers more muscle contraction. And that kind of gets into a negative loop of poor posture, tighter muscles, more pain, and on and on and on. So this is why people with poor posture tend to have fatigue. And it's a lot of work to hold their body up. And oftentimes they've got some pain going on as well. So what happens is that as time goes on, this poor posture is demanding more support from those phasic muscles. And that's going to make the static muscles not work so well. So they're going to start wasting away because that feedback loop with the stimulation to the brain and the brain stimulating them is not getting fed. And so this is part of muscle wasting, is that if you're not using it, you're going to lose it. And that's including our postural muscles. So those deep muscles not used, they become weak. Then they are going to tighten, and they're going to compact and compress the bones in your spine. and they're going to make your posture even worse. So we've got to work with the brain, we've got to work with the nervous system, and we've got to work with those deep, deep muscles of our spine to help us hold good posture. So we might as well just dive in a little bit with chiropractic, right? I mean, I'm a chiropractor, this is what I do. Yes, I see a lot of patients for a lot of things, not just posture, but if we don't have our good spinal health with good posture, then it's going to be very hard to have good overall health. So this is really, really one of the basic tenets of good spinal health. So what I do is, well, with chiropractic, we're trying to find the underlying cause of the postural issues. Where there's interference in the nervous system, because as I said, that brain and the nervous system is going to control and coordinate posture. So we need to know sort of what is the underlying situation going on. I'm going to take a history. I'm going to look for causes that might create stress in the spine. I'm looking at spinal alignment, body movement, asymmetries, muscle strength, and a whole bunch of other objective and subjective things, because it's also what I'm looking at. But I'm trying to get and dig down deep into why a person has poor posture or why they're having pain associated with that posture. So it's very specific to the person. Yes, there are some things in general we can talk about, and I will, but for each person, that cause of the poor posture might be for a different reason, and I'll talk about some of the reasons for poor posture. So the remedy might look a little different. Maybe I have different adjustments for them. Maybe I've got different exercises, but there's a few basic things that we can talk about. So I usually do adjustments, stretches, give some exercises, maybe some deep tissue work, or have my massage therapist work on them. And typically there's lifestyle changes, because if you continue to do the habits that you've been doing, then it's not going to change. You're going to keep getting that negative habit feedback loop. So I just want to go back a little bit with spinal development, because most people don't realize that when we are born as babies, our spines are actually in a C-shaped position. They don't look like the adult spine. Okay? So babies have to develop their neck curves and the low back curves. So they've got already this C-shaped curve right here in the thoracic spine. It's also called a kyphosis. So they have to develop their neck lordosis and their low back lordosis. And the way they do that is they do tummy time, and around 3 months, they're going to start lifting their head up. So if they're on their tummy and they start to lift their head up, that curve is going to start developing. Then at about 6 months, they're going to start getting up on their hands and knees, and they're going to start crawling. And that's going to help develop the lordosis of the low back. So you can see how being on their hands and knees, it would create that corner, sort of sway back condition, but that's a total normal lordosis here. So if these curves don't develop properly in the first place, then you're going to have one strike against you when it comes to having good posture. So once you have those curves, and by the way, this is an adult spine, kids' spines and baby spines look a little different because they don't have full ossification of their bones. They have little bone islands that grow into a cartilage model. So basically, babies are more like sharks when they're first born, as far as their spine goes. So this is a good neck posture. This is the back of the head, the skull. But if we were to line this up, it would be sort of the ear back over this way. Most people are starting to lose their neck curve. I'm going to dive deeper into the neck next week. But when you look from the side, your ear should be over your shoulder, right? It shouldn't be held forward of your body. So that's forward head posture. And so everything should be lined up It's super hard in this small window here. I'm going to try and bring this over here. There we go. So this is the typical sigmoid shape, lordosis in the neck, lordosis in the back, and kyphosis of the thoracic spine. But everything is lined up over each other, okay? Super duper important. So when I'm looking at posture, when patients come in, I'm looking at those landmarks. Ear over the shoulder, shoulder over the hip, looking at where the shoulders are they rolled in front of the body. So when you're standing up, you want your hands at your sides. So palms of your hands. Let me stand up for a second. So your palms of your hands should be down. Put this down here this way. Down at your sides, not rolled in front of your thighs, if that makes sense. All right, so why is good posture so darn important? Well, number one, it has an immediate effect on your appearance. To me, poor posture is so not attractive. It's like a super turnoff for me. So I don't know about you, but good posture is very, very attractive because people look taller and healthier and more confident. And they're going to actually be healthier because there's less visible health effects, like their bones and joints are going to move better, which reduces the stress on their ligaments and bones and joints and nerves and muscles. It's going to reduce wear and tear on those muscles and joints, so less degeneration. There's less risk of back injuries. There's conservation of more energy, so you don't fatigue in general so quickly. Better mood, improved digestion because there's room for all those internal organs. And you're going to be able to breathe better. If you are hunched over, try to take a deep breath. It's like you can't do it. And 2 weeks ago, I talked about optimal breathing with my special guest, Dustin. So I will put the link to that too. So how do people get poor posture? Well, like I said, number one, maybe the spinal development wasn't even there in the first place. Maybe babies were held too much. They weren't on the floor. Maybe they didn't crawl. So they weren't getting those optimal conditions for those secondary curves to develop. Certainly, traumatic events like whiplash and car accidents will have a dramatic effect, and that oftentimes creates a straightening of the neck curve or even a reversal of the curve because of the effects of what happens in the accident. The head kind of whips forward and back. Same thing with sports injuries, depending on the sport. But if you're falling on your head or boxers when they're getting hit, oh my gosh, I can't even watch that. It's so crazy. How people might fall. And then there's situations in life like where maybe you've gained a lot of weight, so your low back is going to have more weight distributed in the front, or same thing in pregnancy. There's actually a condition called hyperlordosis of pregnancy because you've got more weight in the front. High-heeled shoes changes the way the low back curve is situated. Heavy backpacks are going to put a stress on your back. And if you are not working out and you have poor core and weak postural muscles, well, that's certainly going to affect things. It's also due to habits that you're doing in your life as far as poor ergonomic positions. Ergonomic meaning keeping alignment in your body as you're moving through doing things. So how you're sitting, how you're standing, texting. So, how many times do I see people go like this? And they're sitting there for how long with the phone in their hands and their head down. And it's, of course, now younger kids that this is happening to. And posture is getting worse, not better. So we want to remedy that. So with poor posture, what do we see? Rounded shoulders, maybe a pot belly or a protruding belly, bent knees, maybe when standing or walking, that forward head posture I just talked about, maybe neck and shoulder pain, back pain, body aches and pains, muscle fatigue, headaches, these type of things. Hip pain even. So How can you improve your posture when you're standing? Well, first of all, look in the mirror. Look at yourself standing. Look at the front view and get, a little look at the side view, or if you have, sort of mirrors you can look in. And start to lengthen yourself up, lifting your chest up. So a lot of people will, kind of go like this. If you say sit up straight, they're like, and that's not going to work. So you want to think about lengthening, lifting the chest up so that you get more length where your rib cage is and you're lengthening here. And then lifting from the crown of your head up and lifting the chin up so that everything starts to be in alignment. You want to also pull in your lower stomach and tuck your pelvis under slightly. This is using the deep abdominal muscles. They're called the transabdominis muscles that work kind of like a strap to hold your lower belly in and all of your internal organs. So when you let things just go, it's going to tilt your whole pelvis forward. Get those arms down by your side. So rolling the shoulders back will do that. As you lift your chest, that kind of happens naturally. And you want to keep your feet shoulder width apart. So you can kind of play with that. As far as the sitting posture, I did a whole post on proper ergonomics for your workspace. And basically, you want to keep everything in alignment, and anything that's bent, you want to keep at 90 degrees. So you want to be, if you're at a computer, you want to be looking straight ahead. You want your feet either on the floor or on a footrest, and you want your elbows bent at 90 degrees if you're on a computer. So let's just say I'm on a computer, I want to be like this. I don't want to be like this. I don't want my arms down, so that I can keep my shoulders also down and relaxed. All right, sleeping posture. So number one, you want to make sure your mattress is supportive. If you have any pain first thing in the morning, it's most likely something to do with your mattress, whether it's too soft, too hard, maybe it's too old. I don't know, but 99.9% of the time, it's the mattress. If you have neck pain first thing in the morning, most of the time it's from the pillow. So the best sleeping posture is on your back with a pillow that's going to put or support the proper neck curve. Remember, we want our chin slightly up. So if you have pillows piled too high, your chin's going to go down, and that is going to take the curve out of your neck, which we don't want. You also want to try to sleep with your shoulders open. So I even take my hands down by my side and kind of pull my shoulders down to keep this open while I'm sleeping. A little side note, if you sleep on your back, it's helpful so that you don't get wrinkles. So that if you're sleeping on your side, it kind of smushes. And for sure, if you're sleeping on your stomach. The problem with sleeping on your stomach is, number one, you have to turn your head one way or the other. That's going to put stress on your neck. It's also going to make your low back curve very hyperlordotic, and that can put stress on the low back as well. So the stomach is actually a really, really bad idea for so many things. Okay. So how to improve your general posture, just suggestions in general. How about reversing what you do most of the day? So most of the day, I'm bent over. I'm bent over people, adjusting them. When I was a mom, I was bent over my baby. So everything is bent over. So I spend the rest of my time trying to open everything up here, right? And using my back muscles, because I'm using a lot of my front core and not so much of my back core. So this is what I'm saying about making it very specific about what you do in your life and how this is going to help you. For sure, everybody should be stretching 2 to 3 times a week, minimum. I mean, really minimum. And I'm talking about more than 5 or 10 minutes of stretching. You can't really stretch less than 30 minutes. It's not enough for everything. So at least 2 to 3 times a week, 30 minutes If you can do it every day, that's even better. And if you're working out, you should at least be stretching, warming up, stretching sort of an active stretch in the beginning. And then after you're done, doing some deeper stretch while your muscles are warm. And you should be exercising. I always like to say, try to exercise 7 days a week, so you get 5 in. And that's going to improve your muscle strength and tone in general. And then with that, you want to work your core abdominal muscles, which are going to help support your lower spine, especially, even the upper spine. So we're going to talk more about how to work your core in a few weeks. Not sure when that is. I'm going to kind of work my way down the body. You want to try to avoid sitting in a slouch position. Remember, as I said, if you get in a poor posture, you create that negative loop. So if you sit slouched, that's going to promote you sitting slouched. You can use rolls or supports for your spine, especially if you're sitting much of the day. And if you are sitting much of the day, you should be getting up every 20 minutes. You don't have to go far, but just getting up and moving your body, move out of that position. Of course, you want to get regular chiropractic adjustments to help promote positive spinal health. That keeps that positive loop going so that that brain can tell your body what you want it to do. So I've got a favorite posture exercise, and I'm going to do another video for that. So I'll either do it tonight or tomorrow, but either way, I will post it soon. And then I'll put a link to it in this video so you can go right to it. It hits so many things. It really gets a lot. It's super hard and super effective. So this is another great one that you can do when you're getting up from sitting if you're at your computer for a long time. All right. So like I said, this is the start of segments I'm doing for spinal and joint health in general. This is going to run through July at least. So we're going to hit every single body part. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for joining me. If you like what I just said, please give me a thumbs up. Share this with your friends and family. Everybody needs good posture. This is for everybody. Subscribe if you'd like to know when I post new videos. And I'll also put my contact info there if you are not already a patient, just in case you have any questions or anything you want to talk to me about. Okay, happy Tuesday. I hope everyone is well. There's a lot going on in the world. And like I said, the more we work on ourselves and we keep that positive energy and the positive, taking care of our health is a positive aspect, which then promotes our positive thoughts and well-being, the more we can raise our consciousness in a positive way. And that way we can start to affect change in the world. All right, have a great week. I will see you next Tuesday. And optimal health, optimal life. Here we come.